So where did we left off at? I know it's been a couple of days since I haven't been on here. I had my grandson, so he keeps me quite busy. So we left off where I also want to say this. So I was talking about how I end up meeting my baby father and having my children, and how he went to jail, and then I had to move to Florida to be with him, and then he had a whole nother woman, and so on. Just remember, during this time, I still had contact with my sisters. I still had contact with my brothers. It's just that I was becoming an adult and had my own children, and they were becoming young adults as well. And they would always call me like, we want to come over, we want to spend the night. But at that time, my foster mother, their mother, didn't really trust me to have them come over to my house. And plus, I was really unstable, you know what I mean? Because I was trying to figure out who I was, you know. And when you hear me saying I joined that community, it was the Ansar community. They were called the Ansar Law. That's just me still trying to find a family net, trying to feel belong to something, you know what I mean? I didn't even know it was like a cult. You know, I think I was talking to my daughter and my son about it. It was like, Mommy, you was part of a cult. That's a cult. But whether it was a cult or not, it still taught me discipline. It still taught me to be a woman, that who I was. Because when I became Muslim, I didn't even know certain things. Like, I had to learn how to use a tampon, how to take care of my feminine hygiene. I was clean and everything, but as far as like shaving and douching, how a woman's supposed to act when they with a man, like those things that I learned through spirituality, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for even being a part of that community, because they taught me a lot, you know what I mean? The women in that community taught me a lot. The books that I read had taught me a lot. So like I said, I still was in contact with my sisters. I still was in contact with my brother. It's just that I was living my life now as an adult, you know, having children, you know. So I get to Florida, and all of that happened. My girlfriend that lived in the Bronx, she was telling me, you know, come pack your shit, you can come stay with me. So she got us all tickets, and I got on the bus with my kids. So again, I'm running. I'm always running. I'm quick to pack my shit and leave. So I get to the Bronx, I end up staying with her. She was there with her husband and her two. She had an older son, she had a younger son, and then she was taking care of her. So she had like a stepdaughter, her sister's daughter, that she was taking care of, because her sister, you know, had problems. So she ended up taking care of her sister. So we were all living there. So and it was temporarily, because I couldn't stay there or whatever. So as I get back to her house, I had called my older sister Tracy, and you know, letting her know that I left Florida, I had nowhere to live with my 3 kids, and can she help me out? She was like, okay. So when I packed up my stuff to go stay with her in Uptown in Manhattan, I get to her house. She was like, oh, my girlfriend Hope, she has an empty apartment and her kids don't live with her. You know, she said that you can have a room there, because in her house, she had her 2 sons, you know, living there. And then she was going through her own problems with her daughter as well, and having her kids at her house. So she was like, you can stay in their house, you get more room. So I ended up going to her friend's house, which she was a crackhead. She was a crackhead, and she said that, you know, I can rent out one of her rooms. So me and my 3 kids end up staying in this crackhead apartment in the projects in one of her rooms. I mean, this place was so dirty, y'all. I mean, it was so filthy. Like, the room we had, it had a bunk bed, and I had to sleep on the floor. So I had to clean out that room. I had to line the door with like boric acid so no roaches would come in, and also put underneath there, I'll also put a towel so no roach and no rats come into the room. When I had to go out to the kitchen and cook, I used to cook, and then I used to bring our food into the room for my kids to eat, because it used to be so fucking dirty. Like, when I was in the kitchen, say, you know how you drop a piece of butter? One time I dropped a piece of butter, it dropped. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, you know, clean it, like, go back and clean it up, and I'll be cooking, then I'll go back to go clean it. It will be thousands of fucking baby roaches on top of the butter. I mean, less than 2 minutes. That's how roach infested this place was. So we end up, you know what? I'm telling the story wrong. We end up at this place. You know what? Scratch that. When I left Florida, oh wow. Wait, hold on. When I left Florida, I just remember I moved back to North Babylon. Y'all, I moved back to North Babylon. That's how I end up in this crackhead lady's house. Excuse me. Scratch that. When my girlfriend got me back to New York, I stayed with her for a couple of days. Then I moved back to North Babylon. I forgot. I moved back to North Babylon. Then I act up. So when I was in you know what? I'm missing the whole area in my life. So scratch that. When we came back from Florida, okay, we moved back to North Babylon. Now, when I moved back to North Babylon, I'm missing the whole area of my life, because now the kids are, like, my oldest daughter, she's in first grade, and my youngest daughter's in second grade, and my youngest son was in pre-K or whatever the case might be, right? So my youngest sisters, they're young adults now. They living out on their own. One of my sisters still was living at the house, and my stepsister was living at the house. So they grown now. So we're talking a couple of years now, because the two youngest sisters, they big now. Before I moved to Florida and all of that, they end up coming to my house and spending the night and stuff like that. After a while, after I started having my second child, they end up coming to my house. So let's wrap this up really quick. So I went to Florida, found the panties and stuff like that. My girlfriend brought me back to her house. Instead of me going into the crackhead lady's house, I went to live the original house where my two sisters was living. When I got back there, it was just my older sister and my blood sister, one of the youngest sisters. She was there. So they told me I could come back to that house to stay. Okay, so I go there to stay. And now, mind you, we coming back from Florida. My kids had no winter clothes, no coat, no nothing. I brought them on the freaking bus as is with what they had. I get to North Babylon. People were donating clothes to me. I had to get on welfare. I was living downstairs in the same room where I practically grew up at. So I brought my kids back there. I end up leaving that household because me and my oldest sister, stepsister, she was talking shit, and she put me and my kids out. She was like, you gotta go, you can't stay here no more. Now, she was making it seem like I wasn't looking for a job. I wasn't trying to, better myself. How much can I do when I'm on welfare and I didn't have a car, and welfare was only giving me like $200 every 2 weeks? I would have to use that $200 every 2 weeks to go and look for work. And if you don't got a car in Long Island, you got to take a cab, you got to take Long Island Railroad. So she made it seem like if I wasn't trying to do better. And then some week I didn't even go look for work because I had to use $200 to take care of my kids, like buy toiletry, get them clothes, because it was wintertime. So we got into beef. So she was like, you got to get the fuck out. So she wanted me to leave 2 months before they got out of school. I left in May. 2 months before they graduated. She was like, you got to go. And I was looking at my blood sister, like, because she's an adult now. And, she didn't really have no say, because my stepsister, which was the older sister, that was her mother's house. So whatever she said went. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to go. But you kicked me out because you knew you was wrong. And if you're looking at this, you knew you was wrong. What you said to that young man, about me and my kids, you know what I mean? That was wrong. And because I confronted you, you was mad, and you told me I had to leave. You said I wasn't trying to look for work. That was a lie. You know what I mean? How much can a person do when they're on welfare? With 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? So you put us out in the dead a school year when my kids were going to school. So when I had to leave, I had to call my sister. My sister's like, yo, I got somewhere for you to go. And that's when she told me to go to the crackhead girl's house. So we back there with the crackhead house. I'm there. We were there. Okay, so 2 months my kids had to go. I had to register them to go to school in Harlem. I'm in this crackhead, dirty, filthy fucking house with my 3 kids. So what I did was I was saving up all my money. I was like asking people for money. Can I get this money? Can I get this money so I can move out this lady's house? So when the crackhead knew I was moving, she picked a fight with me. You know what I mean? She was like, you got to get the fuck out. All of a sudden, she was like wanting to fight me. So I had to call my sister like, yo, your friend is flipping on me because she's saying I owe her money. I don't owe her money. I don't pay her. You know what I mean? But she just wanted more money because she knew I was moving. So I found a place in Brooklyn, a room. I found a room and I was like, I got to get out this filth, this dirtiness before the next school year starts so I can have my kids register in school and have them, go to school. So I found a place. I lied to the man and told him that it was just me. He didn't even know I had 3 kids, okay? Because nobody would put you in a room when you got 3 kids. So I had to lie to the man. But I had to get out her house because she had all kind of crackheads coming in the house. They were smoking woolies, crack, and stuff like that. So when she knew I was leaving, she picked a fight with me. So I had to call my sisters. They came up, and then she tried to swing on me, and then she tried to like push me out of the house so I wasn't getting none of my shit. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting my stuff out of the house. I fought her in front of the door and ended up getting my stuff out of the house. My sister, my youngest sisters now, they adults, they had to come get me with all my bags and drive me and my kids to Brooklyn. When we stayed in this room, in one room, okay? It had a queen size bed. I gave them the bed and then I slept on the floor. So I'm taking y'all through it's like decades of my life. So I'm taking y'all through like decades in my life. Like I always struggle. I always struggle. And it's like I took y'all through the decade when I was a young child, and I struggled, as a child with my sisters, and then me leaving foster care, I struggled through that, and then I went through another decade where I was in an abusive relationship with my baby father. Excuse me. I don't mean to cry, but it's just crazy. Because every decade brings something different in your life, and you will see this as you become an adult, or if you're listening to me now and you're an adult or a young adult, or if you're an adult my age in your 50s, then you know what I'm talking about. And it might not have been a struggle for you or whatever, but it brought something different. You understand? And so, wait.